So, today, we're going to dive into this really beautiful and honestly profound idea about what knowledge even is. It comes from this single, incredibly powerful text that teaches a lesson not about having all the answers, but about finding wisdom when you're standing right in front of the huge, endless sea of what you don't know. Let's get into it. Our story starts right here, putting us on this metaphorical shoreline. And this isn't just some random beach, right? It's a state of mind. It's that boundary line between everything you know and everything you don't. Just imagine yourself there for a second, standing at the very edge of your understanding, just looking out. And on this shore, the wind is just whipping these questions at you. Questions about things you can't see, about the future, about all the mysteries just over the horizon. You know that feeling, right? That sense of being totally overwhelmed when you're faced with real, deep uncertainty. Well, that's exactly where we are. So, what's our first impulse when we're hit with a tough question? We scramble for an answer, like immediately. It's almost a reflex, a kind of defense mechanism. We just rush to slap words on everything, trying to build this little wall of quick explanations to protect ourselves from that uncomfortable feeling of not knowing. But here's the thing, those rushed answers, they just don't work. The words end up feeling crowded and hollow. The text describes them perfectly, as small, meaningless waves. They just crash on the shore, but they never actually come together to form a real harbor. You know, a safe place of genuine understanding. All they do is create a lot of noise. And this is where the real conflict kicks in. It's this internal struggle between our frantic need to talk, to have an answer, and the quiet, massive power of that sea of questions. It's the frustration you feel when you're trying to force words into a space that really just demands silence. All that tension, it forces you to just stop for a second. The problem isn't really about answering the wind's questions. It's about something way deeper. What is the right way to respond when you're staring into the great unknown? What's the true answer here? And the first step toward that answer was, well, it was nothing. It was silence. And not an empty, awkward silence, but a powerful, active one. It was a conscious choice to stop the flood of meaningless words and to just listen. To listen to the sea, to the questions, and to the quiet inside yourself. And then, out of that quiet, comes this one pivotal phrase, spoken softly, La adri. In English, I don't know. And this is so important. This isn't giving up. It's not an admission of defeat. This is the breakthrough. This isn't an ending. It's the beginning. It's the moment a whole new, wider horizon opens up. And this, right here, is the big aha moment. It's realizing that there's this profound inner peace that comes from those three simple, honest words. A kind of serenity that none of those quick, forced answers could ever give you. Admitting you don't know wasn't failure. It was freedom. It was liberation. So here's the really crucial point. The text completely redefines what failure even means. The true flaw isn't not knowing something. The real flaw, the real shame, is in pretending that you do know. It's using what's called a passing tongue to talk about things that aren't settled, and in doing so, you're actually silencing a deeper truth with all your noise. This really breaks it down into two totally different mindsets. On one side, you have this illusion of ownership, where knowledge is something you collect, you possess, and answers are these final destinations you arrive at. But then you have the wisdom of the shore, which sees things completely differently. Knowledge is a journey, silence is wisdom, and the questions themselves, they are the path forward. And once you make that shift, it's not just a small change, it's a whole new philosophy. When you're standing there before that endless sea, a fundamental truth becomes crystal clear. The unknown will always be bigger than the known. And true wisdom doesn't come from trying to fight that fact, but from just accepting it with humility. So, how do we actually do this in real life? Well, the text lays out a pretty clear path of humility. First, you walk the shore. You just observe how understanding kind of comes and goes, like the tide. Second, you listen to the silence, so you can hear what's really there underneath all the noise. And third, you embrace I don't know, not as a dead end, but as a guiding light, a star that actually shows you the path to real discovery. This line, man, it just brings it all home, doesn't it? Every single time we jump to a conclusion or we fire off some simple rushed answer, we are actively turning our back on that vastness. We are neglecting the sea, the horizon, and all the incredible potential for deeper learning that's hiding inside the unknown.
And ultimately, you have to remember this isn't a one-and-done kind of lesson. It's a lifelong approach, a posture you take. The journey is continuous. The whole point isn't to possess knowledge, to try and conquer the sea. The point is to learn how to live with it, how to respect it, and to know when the wisest thing you can do is just stay quiet. All right, so what are the big takeaways from all this? First, real wisdom always starts with humility. Second, silence can be a much more powerful tool for understanding than words. Third, and this is a big one, saying I don't know is not a weakness. It is the very beginning of a real investigation. And finally, try to see learning as a continuous journey, not some frantic race to collect a bunch of facts. And that leaves us with one last thought, a question for you to take with you. In your own life, maybe in your work or your relationships or just your personal growth, what is the endless sea that you're standing in front of right now? Where can you find the quiet power to just say, I don't know, and begin a more honest, a more profound journey of discovery?